Welcome to our final review for the year of Set the Trend. We've been missing you. I hope you've missed us as much as we've missed you. And to do this final review, we have our esteemed guest, Reggie Heavy Styles. How are you, sir?
Well, I like to feel I'm a host. Is there changes in the new year?
Oh, yeah. You know what? It's a drink.
No problem.
It's a drink.
That's all right. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool.
My fellow colleagues and hosts, my honourable brethren. Sorry. Reggie Heavy Styles.
How you doing, mate? You all right? Been a good year, innit?
It's not been a bad year.
I've enjoyed it.
We'll talk about that. Everything's all right with you?
Yeah. I can't complain.
Cool.
You know, Christmas coming up and stuff like that. New year, new things, new beginnings, as they say. So
good.
You know.
And my fellow colleague, partner.
I like the way Reggie just put you straight.
Sometimes I need to be put straight.
I just never know, innit? You know, you never see it coming when you get in the shop or something.
Focus.
Yeah.
Anyway, Michael Eastender Fontaine, how are you, sir?
I'm good, all good.
Good to see you with your Flash Rare Group legends.
Oh, stop judging me.
No, I'm judging you because it's funny, Reggie, because I've asked him for a top.
And he ain't giving you one.
For months, if not over a year.
He hasn't even booked you for the bill yet, has he?
Well, that's enough.
Maybe when you DJ.
Maybe we can discuss that.
Yeah.
But why haven't I had a hoodie?
I'm not sure.
I want to support you. But
Oh,
I
that's
can't
brilliant.
support you if you don't want to support me and work with
exactly.
me. You do need something. Do you want me to pay for my top?
Well, you said you're going to support me, yeah?
Yeah, so do you want me to pay for it?
Yeah,
How much
I'll
do you
take a
want?
check.
I'll take it out now. I'll give it to you in front of the camera so they all know I'm supporting Rare Group
25
legends.
quid, that's it.
25 quid?
Yeah, that's it.
What's that? Rupees.
Shopping money.
Is that naira? 25 naira.
Anyway, we're going to focus, I hear you say. So what we're going to do, what we thought we'd do is just review the 6 podcasts that we've done so far. A few of them, or a couple of them, you won't have seen yet. And Mysteries one is coming out. We have Dirty Den's one as well, and we have Tony P's one as well, that you may not have seen by the time that this one goes out. You may have seen Mysteries, because that's due out on Christmas Day. So what we thought we'd do is review so far where we've got to, and how far that we've come along with our podcast, Set the Trend. So guys, has it been for you in terms of Set the Trend?
You want to take that, please?
Well, me personally, I think I feel, first of all, very privileged to be part of a pioneering project that has finally, highlight quite a lot of things that have been overlooked, and the fact that we've had the opportunity to be able to celebrate the street sound scene and, the contributions that we've made. I think, I've got to take your hat off to you guys. But I mean, I feel like the third wheel sometimes, but at the same time, I'm privileged to be part of the conversation.
I was going to do a pun.
I know.
Trying to held myself back here. Literally. Ease, how's it been for you?
Getting older and wiser.
Trying to be a changed man around here. Come on. How's it been for you?
No, I'm loving it. I'm loving the feedback that we're getting. Something that we discussed for a few years before it's happened, and now it's happened. I think it's exactly where we want it to be. Just it's about time that the street sounds got documented, and we reveal their true worth in the game and in the industry that we're all in.
And some pioneers as well, because there's a celebration of pioneers, because I think it's all too taken for granted that the only people who exist in the scene are the people who are out every week or every other week.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of people who went before us who contributed to the growth of the scene. In fact, you could say may not have taken this pathway if it wasn't for those who went before us.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's good to recognise them as well as it. And it's been, I think for me as well, as it's been an eye-opener in terms of what I thought the street scene was from, where it was from, how it did develop, and even I've been learning stuff.
Oh yeah, there's been
from
so many
our
channels of people who have come through different ways of sound system and stuff like that, especially through a lot of the discussions. So you're absolutely right. I've learned an enormous amount that I didn't realise myself
And
as
I
well.
think what I didn't think, no disrespect, but I did not think Sir George would come up so much in our podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Very prevalent.
Sir George is one of the pioneers, especially over East London. Maybe you're from South London, so you may not have covered it or heard about it as much as the East Londoners would have. But definitely a groundbreaking sound, and look forward to having him on it very shortly.
Mr. Anthony Brightly.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Yep.
we
Excellent.
will be.
Mr. Brightly, done.
So in terms of where we wanted to go with this, marks out of 10?
I'll say 8. For now, 8. I'll give it a high score because I think we've been very informative. Personally, I think we've been informative to listeners, considering the feedback I've had. And don't forget, I get feedback from people that maybe have never heard of the whole street sound fraternity in the last 30 years. And they're extremely intrigued and they can't believe, you know, that some of the guys have been doing the stuff for so long and they weren't even aware, because don't forget, for them, their journey began maybe with the Trevor Nelsons and the more kind of like bigger names, rather than the guys that are actually there before they became big. So, you know, for instance, Paul Trouble Anderson, may so rest in peace, you know, coming from that street sound era, a lot of people probably didn't even know about the fact that he was in a reggae sound system and used to play reggae music, you know. So,
and it's funny that because all roads seem to lead back to reggae anyway, don't they?
Oh, definitely.
Eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
All roads. So, you know, I think there's another thing to be celebrated there in terms of, and that's probably for another podcast for another time, but I think the role that reggae sounds have played in developing a lot of our street DJs.
Yeah.
All roads, definitely. I think I put out a, Saxon got best achievement at the Legacy Awards, which I went to.
yeah.
I didn't know that they was getting it. What I put out and what I tweeted out or posted on Facebook was the fact that if it wasn't for Saxon, you probably would not have got your Heartlesses, your Soul Solids, your Pay As You Goes, your Stormzy's and that, because all roads lead back to that. And in fact, Saxon was probably one of the pioneers of that group MC thing where they were the first
Tipper,
ones
those
that
type of people,
got a record deal. They did all that stuff. Tipper, Levi, Colonel, Sandy, Junior. I mean, there was more DJs like Peter King, Smiler, Smiley Culture, rest in peace. Asher Center. You know, if you think about that whole fraternity of DJs, and now it's transponded into a modern day thing, and it's come through our scene as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, it's really kind of amazing, the road that it's taken.
Yeah, it's been incredible.
And I think, for me, I think I'll give it a 6 because...
What? Why have you given it a 6?
I'm giving it a 6 because 2019, I know where we're going to take it. And I don't really want to give it a high score now and then 2019 when we peak. Can't take it anywhere else. So I'm going to give it...
Just add another 10. Best.
I'm giving it a 6 for now. And,
10.1, 10.2.
And 2019, you know, I know it's going in some high places, so for now I'll give it a 6. But again, interesting, you know, you're right, the MCs, what you just mentioned there, and Saxon themselves, I think part of the podcast is that these sounds don't get recognised.
Oh yeah.
Our DJs don't get recognised. And look, I mean, Saxon, what's that, 4 years in the game?
Something like that.
I mean, they've featured on a couple of documentaries, but they haven't been recognised in the forefront, you know,
and it's nice
of sounds.
It's nice that they got recognised.
And then, their contribution to the UK music industry as a whole.
And they're the only ones, because I don't want to just mention Sax because
you've got quite a few.
Sax, you're talking about your Unities, you're talking about your Java, Sir Coxsons, you know, all those sounds that pioneered the DJ thing, but back in the day and made it so much of a competition that you wanted as a young person to kind of be part of that. So I think from there it's good to tell that story of the journey of many of our iconic DJs, whether they're iconic and have had an MBE or OBE, or they're iconic and had a street sound. A street sound.
Well, did they really want one? I mean, did they? A couple of people have been offered MBEs and OBEs, but they've declined, haven't they?
Would you decline one?
I wouldn't. Why would I? I've grown up in the UK. As much as I was born in another country, my whole entire
Derek
life.
Where's your
Don't
British flag?
Don't go there. I don't get floored on the countess in the last minute. You know what I mean? Sorry, Derek. Sorry. Yeah, but no, I mean, I would definitely, of course I would. I would accept an MBE or OBE, and why not? I've grown up in the UK, in Britain for all my life, and why not? And why not?
So how do you think it's gone in terms of raising the awareness now of the street sound scene? Because I think there's two things here. There's the podcast, and there's also the record with the street sound DJs.
Oh yeah.
And in the last 4 months, it's contributed to raising an awareness of the scene. So how do you think has that surprised you?
It surprised me, not really. It hasn't really surprised me because, we're dedicated, I'm dedicated to the streets, the street sounds. That's, my target audience. That's who I put my events on for. So it doesn't, I know there's a lot of love out there. And as I said, I gave it a 6 because I know there's more to come. And I don't think we've reached it yet. What I'm seeing now is kind of what I'm expecting, what I've expected. I know that the music that we play is supported by the people that we play it to. And it all fits in perfect in my world. Taking it to the screen, the podcast, getting the feedback from the people on the outside.
How has that gone for you though? Because, okay, I'll speak about it after you speak because that's been a wow moment for me. But how has it gone when people have walked up to you and said and mentioned?
It's lovely. There's nothing better than being appreciated for what you do. And it's from our own audience, which is very important because that's who we're speaking to, and they're coming back and saying they're liking it. There's lots of comments they're making, and again, it will be addressed in 2019. Some of the stuff that they're talking about, but it's perfect. It's another outlay of what we do.
Yeah, from my perspective, the number of DJs that have kind of like, even after the first one we did, the number of DJs that called up and said, look, do you know what? You guys were spot on. This is amazing. I'm glad that what you've been doing. And some of them are very high profile people. So
me playing devil's advocate here because I like to. Some of the DJs that haven't connected, isn't that been a bit? We do want to hear from them, don't we?
Yes, I mean. Again,
yeah, but that's that attitude.
The street
though.
sounds.
It's the street sound
way
of life, though, isn't it?
You get more love from outside than you get from within.
People don't like to
but
pay
eventually
praise.
It will turn around, and I'm sure we'll be embraced by the other DJs and other people in the.
And some of them probably don't even hear about it or understand about it. I mean, for me personally, I remember when I told you I was on the bus and somebody came. I've never ever met this person in my life, but obviously they've raved on the street sound scene, and they're looking at me. I said, oh, yeah, you're on that podcast thing with Sweet Vibes and them guys. And I was like, yeah.
But for you, it's slightly different. I mean, for the records that's just come out, what's it called?
Oh, they can't get enough.
Yeah. Do you get good feedback from that?
Oh, fantastic feedback. I mean, the plays are going pretty well. Video-wise, obviously, we've literally just started a campaign to start it for 2019 to really go and push. Yeah, that was the first phase, was just to make sure that everybody who is part of the street scene knows about it, and then 2019, the next phase is to really take it to the mainstream and, hopefully get out there. There's another video coming up as well, which I think, you haven't seen it yet, have you? Oh yeah, seen it. Yeah. Funny enough, he could have been one of the main protagonists in there. You just never know.
I'm even going to go into that.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I am in it.
Go back.
I'm featured prominently in it, but I won't go into why. Maybe that's another story for another podcast. But that is jokes.
No, the track. Yeah, I mean, hopefully that track is going to highlight a lot of things, and I think for 2019. For what we're doing and the vision of what we started out to do, we're well on our way to doing that. Obviously we're not getting the mainstream people going, oh yeah, have you seen this street sound, or people in the corporate world going crazy over what we're doing yet. But everything has growth, and it's all about a journey. I love the way that Dodd's
taking it.
Oh yeah.
He's taking it full on. And I've seen him in a couple of events, and he's there doing his stuff on stage.
Well, it's something to be proud of, and why not? At the end of the day, for what we're doing. It only takes somebody to start something. That's all it is.
Is it officially released? Is it out now?
It is available out there at the moment, and you can get it, but we haven't highlighted that yet because, like I said, we want to make sure that we get the right push for it.
You're still in promo mode?
Yeah, still in promo mode. So, you know, I mean, to be fair, whether it goes to number 100 or if it goes to top 10, it's been done. And it's...
I mean, it's not only been done, it's been done, it's helped raise awareness of the scene.
Yeah.
And someone who's willing to put time and effort into any business that you're part of has to be applauded. It has to be acknowledged because it's money that's been put in, that's been invested into something that might not ever get back its returns.
Yep.
And we hope it do, and we hope it does it tenfold, but it might not then. So for you to do that, you know, it's something from us to say thank you for doing that. There's going to be another track with them on it.
Yeah, there's going to be a second single. Luckily, we can announce here that officially there will be another single coming as well. You know, really impressed with that. And I think, you know...
And even the team's impressed with that because I think it's important to say that that track is not going to be a track that's just going to be released on the street sound scene and it's in London.
Yes.
It's something that's going to be released and it's going to be promoted outside of London.
Well, it's already getting played outside of London.
Outside of the UK.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Europe as well as further afield. So sometimes, you know, the average person, whatever that is, doesn't see that. So they only see, well, I don't think I ain't feeling it much here, but you might be getting love in somewhere like in Croatia.
Stats are crazy. You see some of the stats like of some of the people that have listened to the record, and even just radio-wise, it's only just gone to community radio stations, and it's already been played in Manchester, Nottingham, Leicester, Glasgow, quite a few places
Newcastle.
already. Yeah, Newcastle. you shagger. Yeah. So it's been
an in-joke.
yeah, that's an internal joke there. But no, it's been played on quite a few stations. I mean, obviously, next year is the goal to get it played on the One Extras and the Capital Extras and the Kiss Freshies and people like that.
And is there a chance of that happening?
Oh yeah, of course, because the mix that we've got, like obviously we've got mixes, we've got a Booker T mix, we've got the original mix, we're calling the original mix, which is something that more suits what's happening now, and it keeps the guys relevant. And the fact that they understand that's why we're doing it is even better. And
but isn't that the key? It also keeps the scene relevant.
Oh yeah, of course.
And in order to move on, in order to prosper, because people often talk about how boring it is. It's the same thing all the time. They play the same musics. Not me. I know you're not talking about me. DJs play the same musics all the time.
Bear, do or die.
It's the same people that they see all the time. Did you mention somebody?
Oh, that's my friend.
No, you don't do that. You can't do that. That's naughty. Can you apologise, please?
I'm sorry. I played the tune. Hey, listen, you know me, I'm the original Mr. Hits,
Okay.
innit? You know what I mean?
So, I think this is a way of injecting some newfound people to be interested and to want to think about coming to our events. So it doesn't just benefit Set the Trend podcast. It doesn't just benefit your record. It benefits the DJs and the scene.
In general, yeah.
And that's what I think, you know, Set the Trend is here for. Isn't it? It's
Yeah.
here to document the scene, and it's also to enhance it.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely agree with that.
And going back to my original point, what I'd like to also say thank you to the crowd, the followers, the people who
ravers, supporters, everybody,
the people who attend our event. I've been kind of a bit taken aback because you walk through the crowd sometimes and someone says, "Oh, excuse me, that podcast, I love what you're doing." They're like, "Oh, like, thank you." And
Yeah. So you're not signing autographs yet?
no,
Okay.
I don't even want them to embarrass me by signing autographs. They take selfies with me, man.
Oh, wicked.
Oh,
yeah, so that's the new autographs,
Get
isn't
more
it?
selfies.
Selfies.
But my forehead is usually shining, so yeah. Yeah, me the shine. Take the shine off. But thank you for that. It's all good feedback. Even when it's not positive, it will be
all good.
feedback.
Yeah.
And remember that you can always do that by either WhatsApping us or direct on Facebook or Twitter. Just give over your comments or go onto our YouTube page where we've Set the Trend of their own YouTube page. Please do that because it's all relevant feedback that we will take, and we will try and use it to take the business to the next level for all of us that are involved in it.
And give people what they want.
Yeah.
You know, what they want, and hopefully deliver something totally different. what they've been getting over the years and set the trend in regards to things like the Cocoa Party and the Matt's barbecues and bringing different things to the scene. Because I think there's so much room for so many great, amazing things to happen on the street sound scene. You know, from not in just musically, but additional things. You know, there's nothing wrong. I personally don't see anything wrong with bringing in, like we discussed before, about the stilt walkers and the holograms and, you know, dressing up the venues and putting on certain themes. I mean, we obviously toyed with the idea of maybe set the trend to a live perspective as well, you know, so.
I mean, that's something scary.
No, come on.
Scary. And you probably wonder what we're talking about. What we've been talking about or discussing in our team meetings with this front room staff, as you may call it, and the back room staff, who are not very back room, but they've only got one job to do.
Yeah.
And usually they don't do it. But anyway.
May the truth be told.
If only we had behind the scenes
We're working hard here. We're working hard here to work with our colleagues. And I forgot my train of thought right now. Let's go to that.
About the live.
About the live.
Thing, yeah,
sorry, live thing. So what we're trying to do is inviting a certain amount of you guys to come in and sit in on one of our podcasts with us and contribute. So that's what we're toying with.
Yeah.
And we'll be putting that out there soon. You don't have to comment on that straight away, but that's something, you know, we're always looking at ways of enhancing the interaction and the communication between us and you, because we know that's very important for us to grow and for us to further each other's status within the whole of the scene. So we're thinking about that. And I do feel a bit scary about that, but they might throw a banana at me.
No.
Of course not. You'll be all right, mate.
Sure.
I'm sure you'll be fine. As long as it's engaging and we're just who you are, you're all right, mate. You know, plus anyway, you're all right. Like you said, you get a lot of selfies. I don't get that. But I did. When I walked through the DJ gig.
Can you fit in them?
Sorry, that was a low blow.
Was that a low blow?
Ouch.
I'm going to apologise to Ricky about that.
Can you fit in a sort
You
of...
see, and I was going to go to Cheryl's, who we had on.
You would have got
I was
yeah,
gonna go to her
you should
birthday.
have, because they were taking loads of selfies down there at a big 5-0. But I would also like to applaud us.
Really?
Yeah, applaud us. This is where we pat ourselves on the back. Street,
Well done, mate. Well done.
street sound DJs.
Sorry,
Yeah, street
sorry.
sound DJs.
Yeah.
Not a very sexy title. Not one that I think the industry liked. Not one that anybody else claimed. I think we claimed it for ourselves years ago,
Yeah.
over 20 odd years ago. I think with the emergence of the street teams, our own culture,
Yep.
and I think it's important that we go on to define what we call street sound DJs and who they are.
Yep.
Because I think people still
Try to.
cross-blend, cross-pollinate street DJs to, you know, with other types of DJs.
And not to be confused with Morgan Khan's Street Sounds label or compilations and
that
stuff
they
like
had.
that.
Yeah. So I think when we go on in the podcast, that we need to definitely define that for everyone's clarity on that. But I think people are just saying street sounds DJs, and I find it kind of liberating.
Okay.
I mean, it's you know, from just being those DJs or Studio or Fifth Avenue or Cash Manhattan or Special Touch or DJ Ratty, you know, street sound DJs. It's kind of, that is what we are. You know what I mean? We're now beginning to define what street sound DJs are
about,
what they did, what they contributed, and their achievement.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course. And I think that's really important, you know, because there are people who play underground music, but not necessarily, you know, from a street sound perspective of where we're coming from. And I think a lot of these guys anyway copy what you guys do anyway, to be fair. And I'll say that straight.
I like
And
that.
openly.
Point them out. Can we point them out?
No.
Can we point them
No,
out?
because you remember you had a go at me about name dropping. So I want to do it.
That would definitely make an interesting podcast
Yeah.
in 2019.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And also, I think it's important that we kind of look how our individual journeys fit into telling the story and the narrative.
Oh yeah.
Because one thing that I'm very conscious about, that I have a story to tell, and there's things that do come up within our podcast when we're talking, and with guests, and I would really like to maybe push my story out there a bit more, because it is part of their story. But I'm very conscious that I don't want to use this platform
To be about me,
to be about me, because it's not about me. It's about the circuit altogether.
Yeah.
Although I too have a story
Yeah.
that I would like to contribute.
So we can turn around and interview you.
Yeah.
Is that what you want?
Why don't we ask you a question now? Like, you know.
No, you can't, because it's just not now.
Okay then.
I want my own podcast, my
sorry.
own thing.
So somebody's got bigger.
Set the trend interview sweet one.
Well, Fifth Avenue.
Man's got
I'm
bigger.
always team first.
He's got bigger fish to fry. So
Exactly, team first. But I think, but I think it is interesting. I didn't hear that joke.
Too many internal jokes there.
I think it is interesting that, I mean, EastEnder, you've got what's you find so funny? Why are you just creasing up like that?
sorry.
You're crying. Why tears? It wasn't that funny.
Ask him one question, please. Just one question.
So at this point, hold on. So at this point, let me tell the crowd what is happening, because we can't just look over there and talk. Yeah.
All right.
Let's have some more. I don't know why you're still crying here. Look at your red eyes, like you've been smoking weed. What's happened here is that the producer, who's only got one job to do, has interjected, which he might do over time to time over the rest of the podcast. So, Mr. Nelson.
Yes, Mr. Nelson.
I just want to pose it to them two to ask you one question each from your history. Each. Yeah, that's two questions.
Oh, okay then.
Because Reggie's not from our scene.
Well, you can't
directly,
ask
even
two. I
though
think
he's
one
very
question.
integral.
I think, to be fair, one question.
One question.
Why are you
All
getting
right.
fried?
Okay. Why don't you ask Ray a question then? You ask Ray's question, and I'll ask you yours.
Do I need some thinking time on that one? Question for Fifth Avenue, for Ray. Sweet Weiss, Fifth Avenue. Let me think of that one. You got one? Or are you going to start? Let me think of that one. 'Cause my question
Right, have you got a question for me then?
No.
Have I?
Yeah.
No, but hold on.
You know, you've got a question.
Have I got a question for you?
Well, why is he thinking about your question to ask you?
Okay. Reggie Styles.
Yeah.
You've been around. I've known you from since I used to go into the counter at Supertone Records, and you used to sell me reggae music. Crap reggae music at the time. The ones that he didn't want to sell, he sold me. Anyway, that's another story.
I think that's where you were bad,
And that's
did it?
another podcast for another day. And then you went on to form your own sound. You then came part of the street team somewhere. No, you went into Hard Zone.
Hard Zone.
And then you got into the commercial, industrial side of the business. And you turned a DJ. What was one of your most memorable? Memorable. What was it? Memorable. You know, I sound like DJ Mayday, don't I? What was one of your most memorable events that you played at? Something that really changed the game for you at that time.
Changed the game? I think probably my first ever thing that I played at. Well, not even played at. Does it have to be a DJ thing?
No, it doesn't have to be a
I
DJ.
think my most memorable
It
moment.
could be something we want to hear about that happened behind closed doors.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Setting up street team for at the time of Hard Zone, we were setting up the first ever UK Def Jam street team. So as part of that, I had to.
Def Jam.
No, first
First ever
UK official Def Jam street team. Before you had people who were doing it, but it wasn't official.
It wasn't official.
Yeah, so they didn't have the jackets and the
So was you part of the first street team in the UK?
Yeah.
Is that
The first Def Jam UK street team.
okay?
Let's just clarify it 100%. And going to New York and doing interning at Def Jam UK. So I had to go there for a whole entire week doing interning. And that was just an incredible time.
You told me this one, yep.
And just basically arriving at the Def Jam offices. There was a lady called Nicole, and there was a guy called Rob Love who actually ran the UK street team. Yeah. And I was thinking, English man, gonna get easy. Walked into this place and there's just like tons of these interns there. And we were doing the stuff from stuffing envelopes. Like it was like going back a step, like stuffing envelopes and then having to walk like 2 or 3 blocks. Now, you know, in America, it's not like walking down the
all
street.
blocks,
It's like going 20 miles down the block, putting up poster boards and stuff like that. Coming back into the office, and basically, Russell Simmons would always come out and swear the fuck down.
So he wasn't really like what they portrayed him to be there.
He used to swear down the place, and I could see why he was so successful, and I could understand, like, he used to put the fear of God into some people. But
That's to get the best result.
But I don't think that's the best way sometimes. I mean, look at Jose Mourinho. That got him sacked, putting the fear of God into people.
but in those days, what was that? 1997. That was about 97. So
What was you promoting that time?
we were doing.
Been a Method Man, Redman.
Yeah, Method Man, Redman, Jay-Z, as well.
The glory
We were
days
doing,
of
the DMX. Did all of them, all the big, even reggae-wise. To be honest, even previously to that, at the same time, good thing about being in Hard Zone was we even did the reggae stuff as well. Dancehall Queen album, Shotters, Belly, all that type of stuff. So it's been great to be part of some really incredible stuff and meet a lot of people. I think that is one of the memorable. Another memorable moment, it was just after my interning, I got to actually do Jay-Z's promo and going to the Lanesborough Hotel and seeing Jay-Z literally ordering a butler to get us McDonald's whilst we were waiting to do these interviews.
That wasn't the most interesting Jay-Z story that you told me.
No, I can't. Some of them I can't divulge. There's a lot of stories coming in the memoirs, 2020, 2020.
Did you ever talk about Jay-Z and Def Jam? Did you ever come to that Jay-Z launch at One Extra? No, BBC Radio 1.
No.
Jay-Z.
No, wasn't there.
Damien Dash.
No, that was after my time.
John Legend.
That was Semtex's time, I think.
And there's this little guy sitting on the floor, just on his laptop. Just like sitting there, some lady says, "Oh, John, do you want a Big Mac?" And it was like, "Yeah, it's a Big Mac." And I was like, "Who's that?" It was John Legend.
Yeah.
Before
he was big. Funny enough, I did do John Legend's promo before he was big, and I remember I got a story about John Legend. We sat down in Nando's.
These guys are name
Nando's first street. No, because
he was cut me out of the conversation.
He was struggling to get airplay at the time.
Who?
John Legend. So nobody really cared who he was and stuff. I think that was just after he signed to Just Good Music, to Kanye's label. And we just sat down and hatched a plan. And this is one of the things that people don't realise. It's like, from a street perspective, the street sounds like yourself. This is how it ties in, because they would. My job was to basically get you guys to make something credible, cool, and hot for people to then appreciate from a mainstream level. Wow, you know what? The street is into this, so we need to be into this. So that was kind of like something that we hatched with John Legend, and I can say that it's people like yourselves who were responsible for a lot of artists, from the John Legends to the Anthony Hamiltons to the A. Marie's, a lot of things coming to the forefront. And if you weren't promoting or pushing that stuff, Kelly Price is a perfect example. Remember a friend of mine, Kelly Price? Yeah. It was the street that broke that record. Literally, you guys broke that record. Nobody was interested in Kelly Price, friend of mine, at all. And then it was you guys that embraced it to the point where they couldn't ignore it. So a lot of the mainstream guys thought, oh my God, this record is getting played. And remember, it was a slow jam. And at the time, slow jams were never ever played on mainstream radio. It's all about fast stuff. So, I have to give you guys credit for so many records.
So here's a question for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Producers laughing in the
Producers
background.
laughing.
I'm getting their notes here. Go on.
So,
what did I do?
All right. So, when Fifth Avenue first became popular.
Yeah. Where are you going with this? Go on.
Yeah. You was playing mainly by yourselves. There wasn't 2 or 3 sounds on the bill. It was mainly by yourself. Then, obviously, things kind of changed. You started playing around with other sounds. And who did you enjoy playing with? What sounds did you enjoy playing with after you kind of didn't have to play by yourself? Easy question. That's a nice
Too
question.
easy, don't it? Because, I mean, at the time, it was the sounds that we...
But you remember the times when you used to play by yourself from 10 o'clock 10 o'clock at night till like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning?
Less than a 7.
Less of the 7.
Yeah, let's do the 7.
9.
8, 9.
8, 9,
Yeah, I'll go for that. I'll go for that. You know what I mean? Like, we could keep them there.
Yeah.
I mean, we obviously wasn't, I'd be around the clock or late in the Sunday morning. It would have been Sunday midday, would it?
Midday, yeah.
Yeah, no, we didn't get that far. I think sometimes we went to about 10 o'clock, to be fair. Yeah, yeah, you're right. We used to play on our own, which is, I think, that goes off to another thing that we need to define. What makes a DJ? Does that make a DJ? Does that make a sound? Because obviously there's a lot of DJs and sounds coming now that can just play about 45 minutes or 30 minutes, and you wonder, does that actually make a DJ a sound? That's a conversation I think that we need to have. I enjoyed playing with the sounds that was there at the time. So it was, when I came, at the time, it was your Toucher classes, it was your latest edition was there at the time. Asher World.
Oh yeah, Asher, yeah.
Tim Westwood, Nasty Love, because I used to, Fifth Avenue also used to do the all-dayers. So it was the fact that when we came, it wasn't just the blues dances that we were doing. I think we were the only street sound at that time doing the all-dayers.
Yeah, as well.
So we also
Brixton
played...
Rec.
Yeah, Brixton Rec, Moonshot, Community Centre as well.
Bloody hell.
There was a few others.
Yeah.
But we were the only street sound that could actually play the all-dayers, because the all-dayers was an upfront affair. And obviously, when you're playing with Nasty Love at their peak, when you're playing with a Rampage at their peak, when you're playing with Boogie Bunch at their peak, when you're playing with Tim Westwood at his, or getting to more or less his peak there,
In his 40s, really. 50s.
early 90s. I'm talking about the first
Yeah,
few years
yeah.
in the 90s,
That's
90,
it.
91,
90,
92.
91, definitely.
When you're playing with those guys, you have to be on your game. You're not on your game, that crowd just goes and it just disappears.
Yep.
And after them guys have got the crowd up and doing what they're doing, because you're talking about, those are guys that defined their eras, defined their spaces and their journeys, what they were going into. And we was just a little street sound, but we were batting up against those guys. So in fact, probably I'm more on a competitive mode. I probably enjoyed playing with them more, because that was more what I was as a selector was about. Fifth Avenue actually wasn't. What I brought to the table, that's what I was more about, playing everything, playing all kinds of music to people who just loved music. The street sounds thing was more the rare groove, the revival, a bit of lovers rock,
Yep.
1 and 2 up front, but
Yeah.
not really. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably what Fifth Avenue brought to the game. So,
Like the open format style.
yeah. So for me, that's probably one of my main moments. There's been others, but I'm sure we'll get around to talking about
One other question.
No.
One other question.
Okay,
One
I
other
wanted
question.
to ask you.
why.
Okay.
Have you found your copy of Sandra Fever?
Yeah, the 12-inch.
Have you found your LP version of Sandra Fever?
So what happened here, folks, which you probably haven't seen? Dirty Den, that was one of the tunes that Company broke. And I not foolishly, I just commented without thinking about, I had that album. And Dirty Den went, that didn't come an album, it was only on 7 or 12. So I said, these lot loved it, because I seemed like I didn't know what I was talking about, but I did. And I've got to produce my 7 or 12 inch.
Not buying a new one, you've got to find
The
in the
original,
archives.
The
Not go
original
on
copy.
Discog and pick up one and say, oh,
Yeah, I
look, I've got
know.
one.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to tell if you bought it from Discogs, because it's the
Yeah,
original
look.
record, isn't it?
Why wouldn't you trust me?
You
Don't-
wouldn't be able
don't-
to-
don't
No,
look
what
like
he
a
has to
face
do,
that you can trust.
what he has to do,
Don't look like a face that
the
you
good
can
thing with
trust.
technology, he can film
Look at me.
himself
No,
going
there's a
through
face to
and picking
trust,
out
yes,
or something
there
like
is,
that. Yeah.
But, you said you had
Listen,
the album.
do
And
not-
it
the
doesn't
album,
exist.
yeah.
can I just say this?
Not judging.
Rhodes, do not ever question my credibility. So Extender,
Yeah,
your time.
yeah. I've got a question for him.
No
No,
question
it's
for
you.
me.
No, it's on you. It's
I've got a
on you.
question.
It's on you.
I've got a question for you.
No, but can I ask one first?
All right, go on.
Back in the day when you was called Superboy or Super Kid?
Super Kids.
Super Kid.
Super Kid.
Yeah, 19.
I mean, there doesn't look to be anything super about you. I don't know if you if you ran into that lift over there and come back out, it would be like cape and muscles and
S on
everything.
the chest,
else.
yeah?
Is that what it was? Was it, or like, did you have muscles
Shut
back in the
up.
day? Or I don't know. Why did they call you that?
Why did they call me Super Kid? Because my musical knowledge was so vast at a young age people around me were so surprised at the knowledge that I had in my for my music. They was like, "What? You know so much? Yes, you're just a little kid." And then obviously Superman was one of the things that was big at the time, and the two just connected.
So your special power was?
Special powers was the musical knowledge that I had at a young age.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How's that?
Is that what you're telling us?
Is that this real story?
Is that the story he's sticking to?
Now you're checking
story.
now
Is
you're
that the
testing
story
my
he's sticking to?
credibility.
I've got a question for you.
Go for it.
I always used to come to a couple of them house dances. Obviously, I wasn't a face that people recognised, but I always noticed that when you used to DJ, it seemed like as if you used to get bullied by everybody else. And
Well,
nobody seemed to, like, how did you feel about, the fact that when you would come on,
Again,
the
it's
DJs would exodus the place and leave you on your own?
Well, no, I don't. For me, it wasn't even really that. I think if you look at it, time frame wise, I was in a sound that had Desi G, DJ Legs, Barry White. They're like Desi and Jazzy J. Imagine me, Desi, Legs in one sound trying to get airtime, plus playing with Touch of Class, Mystery. No, those bills at the time was Touch of Class, Mystery, Special Edition, One Love, Latest Edition. It was very hard to get any airtime. Once Desi gets on the turntable, he doesn't like getting off. He doesn't like coming off. So we used to try and squeeze, Desi we might have a 2-hour set.
Right, okay.
Desi would play for an hour and 15 minutes and give me 10 minutes to play.
Right.
So it was but it was the best learning curve you could ever get.
No, I think you used to draw out tunes.
It was the
I
best
think you used to
learning
play
curve
some
you could ever
tunes
get.
from what I remember. You used to play tunes, man. I just thought it weird that there wasn't that supportive
Well, no,
from your comrades.
just not enough hours in the day,
Right, okay.
and
Explains it all.
too many sounds playing on the bill.
Okay.
Moving on slightly from that,
Yeah.
looking back over the podcasts that we have done, I think the second one that we did was A Woman's Worth with Cheryl,
Lolly.
Lolly,
And petite.
And Petite.
and Petite. How did you think that went?
I liked it. I liked the fact that we gave the opportunity for the ladies to express themselves. I think we need to have some more ladies on our podcast because there's a lot of ladies out there doing their things. I know we got Natalie Chin
From
lined
Off the
up
Wall,
for
yeah.
2019. Who else we got for 2019?
There's names to come, but we'll discuss that
Yeah.
later.
Okay, yeah. So I liked it, and if we can support them in
But we
what
don't
they're
want them to
doing.
support them just because they're females, or do we?
Oh no,
I mean,
we're support. No. I mean, look,
Have you heard them
Wanna
play
put-
since? Any of them, DJ? Apart from Cheryl, obviously. He's a
look,
promoter.
Cheryl don't play, but she had a.
Yeah, but she had a
She just had a
But
birthday
Lolly has Lolly
No, I haven't. To be honest,
been
because
on
I've
any
been busy.
gigs? Has there been a? Because we did
No.
speak about the fact that it's our responsibility to bring in more female DJs. I'm doing my part, D Demure and all that, but and a few others. But has she been on any of your bills? Like, have New Attraction put her and brought her a bit more forward in their
Well,
lineups?
to be fair
'Cause
to
that's
New
what-
Attraction, they've already given her a platform.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because they play out differently to me sometimes, so they might have. But I think for me, it's the fact that we're having that conversation, which also should inspire other women who want to be part of the business to
Exactly.
think that there's a place in the business for them and to be encouraged.
Yeah.
But that's how you
by
judge
us
how
having
well
that
it went,
conversation,
really.
yeah.
Because if they've had a lot of females come to them and say, "Look, do you know what? I'm really impressed by what you did. You guys really spoke really well, and I really, really want to be part of this as well, and this is something I want to do." And if there are more female DJs who are playing on the bills as a result of it, and promoters are thinking about booking more females as in the scene as a result of us having that conversation,
I've
then I
spoken
think
to a
that's
lot
what
of
makes-
ladies that's watched that podcast, and they weren't even aware of Cheryl being a promoter or Lolly being a DJ.
Right.
So again, I think they've got to raise their profile a little bit more.
Right. Okay.
So obviously, they can get their message across. But there's again lots of female promoters that looking to
Start their stuff.
start their thing and,
Wicked.
and embrace it.
So the acid test, quick yes or no. before I move on to the next podcast. Would you haven't got one, and you might not have one, but I'll ask the question anyway. So hypothetically, your daughter, would you allow her to be a DJ or a promoter in the street sound scene after that conversation?
I would want her to be.
Would you support her?
Yeah,
Would you support her?
I'll support my daughter in anything she does, as long as it's the right thing. Yeah.
Of course, 100%.
Great stuff. So after that, what was after that? We had the one after that was the third one. Wasn't that Mystery?
Street sounds.
No, it was the Street Sound MCs. Was it Street Sound MCs or was it Mystery?
No, it was Mystery,
It
but
was Mystery.
Mystery's airing on Extra
Mystery's,
State, but
Mystery's airing on Christmas Day. So we had Mystery. That was a moment.
Yeah, I love that. I love it.
And that was only part one.
Yeah.
And that was an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, I love that.
And we still did not get through.
everything.
I knew he had
at
so
all.
much more to say as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like it wasn't even half the story. It was just the beginning of the story.
Exactly, but it's just interesting to find out the background of his journey to being Mystery, the guy that everybody was following, you know, in droves from dance to dance, and where it all began. And do you know what really touched me is how British and UK Mystery actually is. You know, from the accent to the people he hung around with, to
being
his
to being a
upcoming-
Millwall supporter.
Yeah, Millwall supporter of all things. You know, it's just amazing because I thought to myself, well, this is like, you know, absolutely insane. And
But how did he come across to you? Did he come because there's two sides to every story, and his side, the other side, and the truth. Now, I'm not saying that he's lying at all, but I'm just saying from his point of view where things actually happen to him. Because it's like, I suppose to explain it, when something happens to you, you always think this may be the reason why it happened, and maybe you don't evaluate so much what you could have done to make the...
are you talking about his transition to the mainstream?
To the
As in,
mainstream.
like, okay.
And where he quite cleverly though,
Yes, Mystery.
he Alistair Campbell, you. He quite cleverly did not actually, he didn't really go into it. So when he said, for instance, I went to Kiss FM and they said they didn't have no space for him,
Yeah.
that was it. He didn't actually go into his feelings. And
Well, he's leaving himself out. I mean, you know, he's a professional in that sense.
yeah, but
But no, actually,
I don't know if I would have done that.
You'd have told the story.
I think I would have.
No, but he did. He mentioned about Patrick Berry and
But that was Patrick.
Neil Kendall.
But we'll go back to choice
Well,
in
he
a
said
minute.
he
but
said Kiss FM, and he said,
Okay.
"Oh, Trevor Nelson actually."
It's just
yeah,
the way
yeah,
he said
yeah,
it, but he
yeah.
was very
Yeah.
polite about it.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if I could have been so polite about it right now.
well, he's older now, isn't it? As you get older, it's less. You know, you kind
Oh,
of
you
like.
mean that you don't carry it so long?
I think the mature you get, I think the much more mature you handle
the thing
things
is,
and
no, I
look
think
with
it's
the
the
bar.
other way
Do you
around.
hold a grudge against some sound system from 1992?
And I do. Let's just put that out there. Yeah, I do.
I know.
You know you are.
You know, I just think as you get mature, you kind of like.
I think when he retires from the game, that's when he will tell you the.
Maybe he's saving it for his memoirs. Remember, he said he's got his memoirs book
is
coming,
one, but I
isn't it?
think,
Well, he's
you
doing
know,
his.
A,
well, he's
a
doing
lot
his
of
book,
people
isn't it?
normally talk when it's finished, when they retire from the game.
Right. Okay.
You know, it's, if you look at the, you know, John Barnes and Raheem Sterling.
Oh
the
yeah.
other day,
Yeah.
You know, the players who are playing today didn't really make much
Come
noise.
out and say
did they?
anything. Yeah.
No one said that. Rashford
Cowards, man.
Yeah.
Rashford never
I
said
won't say
anything.
cowards. Protecting your money, man. At the end of the day,
But Rashford never said
Listen,
anything.
nah.
Ox never said anything.
It's the cause,
Theo
man. It's
never
the
said
cause. The
anything.
cause
It's not
is
about the
bigger than
cause.
them. The
You know
cause is
what?
big- No, it's about their
no,
paper.
It's not. No, it's not, because you
Anyway,
know what? You get
it's not a
paid.
footballing
Once you
podcast.
get paid,
I don't
no,
care.
but it's in a general rule of life. Once you get paid,
Keep
that's when
quiet.
you can start. No, once you get
Keep quiet.
paid and you've made your money,
That's
then you
when you
can
can speak.
invest into.
But end how you get called a
Things.
coconut and all them things.
It doesn't matter. Who cares? At the end of the day,
Just get your bills.
at the end of the day,
Yeah.
the difference is that I fight for the, I fought for the cause, and I'm driving some little mashed down Peugeot.
Oh, so it's
Somebody
monetary.
else-
So it's about money. Say it's about them
not about
though.
the car that
It's
you
about the
drive.
cash.
No, it's about what you achieve in general. Like, you know, at the end of the day, if you're getting paid 25 grand a week,
Raheem
So
Sterling.
you're
stuck
not
his
going to
neck
put
out.
somebody
So-
else's
so-
rep on the line for 25
Raheem
grand.
Sterling
Raheem
stuck his neck
Sterling,
out.
yeah.
He stuck his neck out.
Yeah, because he's getting 300 grand a week and he's managed by a black. Well, I think his agent's still black.
We even say
And
Pep.
yeah, his agent's still black.
He did have them.
His agent's black.
Yeah,
so you know,
what's
if
he
he
gonna
was,
do with it?
if
But
you,
his agent ain't gonna keep him in a job.
No, but his agent
He's a
is the
Brixton
person who
agent,
done the deal.
by the way of it.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
well done to you.
Yeah, big up, Mr. Aid. Yeah, yeah. So, you know, for me, from my perspective, I
So
personally
we now
feel...
have to keep you quiet and just pay you off.
Just pay you some money.
No, not
Want some dough?
necessarily.
Want some dough?
No.
Yeah.
I think that everybody's well within their rights to be able to say whether or not they want to come out and fight for the cause.
It's what
or
you
not.
leave, mate. It's what
Do you
you
know what I
leave.
mean?
Yeah,
It's
you
what
say
you
it
leave.
afterwards. You would say it afterwards, after you made your money. You wouldn't say it while it's happening.
I think whilst you're in getting paid
Keep
300
quiet.
grand a week,
Keep quiet.
right? Okay, you should be engineering something to make it happen. So, for instance, if you're working for another voice piece, as in like the black, what's that organisation called again?
You're still a
Kick
slave.
it out. Kick it
You're
out.
still a slave, as
Kick
Damon
it out.
Dash would say. You're still a slave.
Me, a slave.
You're still a slave.
Can I tell you something really interesting?
Yeah, of course you can.
I've only worked.
long as it ain't
I've
personal.
only actually worked for 2 people in my whole entire lifetime, and received a wage from 2 companies in my whole entire lifetime.
So you're a slave to
And
yourself.
independently,
No, he's
I've
a
been
boss.
no
He says
3
that he's a
people,
boss.
3 companies I've ever received a wage from in my whole entire lifetime. Everything else I've been independent, earning myself.
Okay, but what I think Damon Dash also is saying is that you're supposed to speak out about the wrongs now. You know what I mean?
Not when you retired and you
Not
made
when
all
you
your
retire.
money.
Because the cause is bigger than you. So if you feel that, you know, if you've got someone like Ryan speaking out, and maybe those don't feel that they eloquently can do it, but I think I didn't see anybody showing him support. But anyway, that's another story for another day.
All right.
But
That's racism
that is racism. That's what
I'm not condoning it, by the way, racism, just so you know.
No, but saying that you
we're
can
not
get paid
saying-
and like you're
The
right.
man's calling me a slave. Man's calling me a slave, you know.
saying-
Like I'm some Django.
Did you say Django? I like that. Reggie Django style.
Do you know what hurts even more? Because you know what hurts even more? Because I was born in Sierra Leone, which is a slave colony. It's a slave colony.
Don't edit
That's
this
what
bit.
hurts even
Hey,
more.
please, do not edit this bit. Eddie Django styles, yeah? Anyway. So what we were saying is that Mystery kept a lid on it.
Yeah.
And I think even with the choice, but he did throw a shot.
Yeah, he did.
He did throw a shot,
Yeah.
but the shot was legitimate.
Okay.
What, I'm asking you.
Yeah, I think so. I
Shot?
think so.
Was
yeah.
it?
Yeah, because
Was it a
listen,
legitimate shot?
if you're the hottest DJ at that time in the UK and you've got a brand new black music station and you're the hottest, you got the whole world following you, and you are not on the biggest black music station that's about to launch,
London.
that's a problem.
So something's wrong.
That's
so,
a problem.
You know what? I 110% agree with you.
Yeah.
Now Django too. What was you saying? Because you look like you wasn't saying.
Django 2. You better get a reflection, look in the mirror, mate, about Django 2. I'm not Reggie Heavy, I'm not Reggie Styles here, mate.
I didn't want to go there, but you know, yeah.
What was saying?
What was the question?
The question was, yeah. Do you? I don't even know what the bloody question was. The question was something along the lines of
About
Reggie.
mystery, whether or not he should have
been on.
thrown a shot about his
Choice.
He should have been on choice, oh, most definitely. Mystery and quite a few others should have been on there.
From the street scene.
From the street scene, definitely. At that, remember, the street was dominant at that time.
Do you think there's anything maybe getting Patrick or Neil or someone from there to be speaking about this? No. That was to the backroom style. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we've got a couple of guests coming on next year again, which is going to be important to the conversation that we're having now.
Okay. Pause it there because they've just given me that we've only got about 10 minutes to
What?
tell us to wrap in. I don't believe that we've been talking for this long.
Oh my God. Like you
We
said.
then interviewed the street sign MCs.
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah,
quite
yeah.
clearly,
Yeah.
DJ MA. took
MA.
that. He
MA's
took
the
that.
man.
If you haven't seen it, you need to. Jesus. But is
It's
it
funny.
But it's nothing more than what I expected of MA.
Do you know what? I've never seen MA change his whole entire demeanour. He's been the same. Whether or not he's sitting down, whether or not he's in the car,
I think the
he's
question
always
should
the same.
be, does he need to change it?
Nah, well, to be fair, I mean, you know, I recognise that. I don't think, from an MCing perspective, I think he's lost the love of MCing. Just even seeing him do his thing, I don't think he does it for the love anymore. I think he just turns up for the fact
But
that
on the record,
he's on the scene.
people out there say that he's the best one on the record.
It's just, well,
we have to give him his
he's very
plaudits on that.
experienced. Yeah, I'm not taking it away from what he does at all, but I don't know. Maybe he's just not interested in kind of like doing stuff as much as he used to do it, and the way that he used to do it.
And how can I put this? Okay. I think that the backroom staff are there. The backroom team are laughing, you know, because if you're going to say something controversial, I'm not.
Django.
Django.
I was leading him, you see. Call me Massa. Who's the Massa? 5 minutes. Are you having a laugh?
Actually, I think you're right, going back to what you said earlier. Dodd has got the most hunger out of all of them, to me.
He's 100%.
He does seem like he has got the most hunger out
He
of
really cares about it. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I think they all care about it. I think he just cares about it more, that's all.
MA does his thing, his radio show and all the rest of it. He's happy to get the likes and, you know, and I think the fact that he's free to do what he wants to do in regards to presenting his own music and as an MC. But coming into the raves perspective, you know, I don't know. I mean, like you said, a lot of people love what he does. And you can't,
I mean,
as long as he does that good,
does.
that's all that matters. I suppose anything else in regards to his demeanour and things like that doesn't really matter, to be fair. As long as he turns up and does the job, that's what matters, isn't it?
We also interviewed, got to move it on, lads. We also interviewed after that Tony P.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. Tony P was, he is a character.
Funny,
Is he not a character?
Hilarious.
Tony
Hilarious
No.
guy, man.
Mr. Body Fusion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Body Fusion.
And he set that straight about the whole mystery thing.
He did,
which
but
was
he
pretty
was
cool.
very insightful in some of the information he gave. So you haven't seen that yet. You really need to go and check out Tony P. We then interviewed Dirty Den, which hasn't come out yet.
Oh,
neither.
what a podcast. That was one of my favourites, actually.
It was actually, wasn't it?
One of my favourites. One of my favourite podcasts, I think, from just the history, the fact that he broke down a lot of stuff. And I think he kind of like encapsulated what it's like to be a street sound DJ.
And he
in that
defined Grey
podcast.
Goose for us,
Yes.
which was quite
yeah.
interesting.
As
One
well.
definition.
Yeah.
One definition, but he is one of the small collection of connoisseur
Yes.
collectors
Yes.
that you would actually have to pay attention to in
Yeah.
our
Oh, most
circuit.
definitely.
So, you know, that is actually a big statement from one of the guys. So if you haven't seen Dirty Dens, make sure you tune to Dirty Dens. And that was it, wasn't it? We haven't. That's it so far,
That's
right?
it so
Yeah,
far.
so far.
So just to go on, who's coming on the podcast? Because what's been also interesting, I ain't gonna name names and everything else. A lot of people have been, oh, but you haven't had such and such on. When am I coming on? How comes I'm? We're only 6 in. Unfortunately, we can't do more than a couple a week at the most because of how we're set up. But we do intend to get through a long list of people who have contributed to the scene. So because they haven't been in, doesn't mean you're not going to be in, doesn't mean that we're not going to call you, doesn't mean we're not going to contact you. Also interesting, let me just flip that. Someone also said on the Street Sounds one, how comes Barry White wasn't in there? And because we claimed that those three MCs were three of the influential over the last 20 years, just to say, Barry White isn't in there.
Come on, mate.
Not because there's two things, isn't there? It's like comparing a Alan Shearer to a nowadays striker, Harry Kane for all the Tottenham fans. It's different eras. Barry White's a completely different era. It's not a completely different era, but he started off a lot of the stuff for them DJs. Them DJs come off of Barry White. There's a lot of Barry White, little bits and pieces that you will see in all of those DJs and the other DJs.
Yeah. In other words, he's in a class by himself.
Yeah, he even made a woman do his... Oh, sorry.
And the thing is about it, don't go there. And so we're going to be talking to Desi G and Barry White.
Together.
So we're going to ask Barry White that question as well as... so he'll answer that for himself, but I just thought I'd put it out there. It's not because we're being disrespectful. We don't aim to be disrespectful at all. Also, to the DJs who didn't make that top 3, as we put it, they're thinking, well, what about us? Well, we're going to be talking to you as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to get your
Set your
chance. It's not
case.
that we don't not value your contribution to the scene. We do. But we just got to take things in bits and pieces to get through to the whole story. And your contribution will come at a later date. So just going to go through some of the people who are going to be on the podcast that have confirmed that they will be on the podcast. Don Luciano, original Paradise Garage and Warehouse owner.
Wow.
I had my own hour conversation with him, and some of the stuff that he will be talking about, you need to know this for the culture. Anthony Brightley, Sir George.
Yeah.
Touch of Class and GQ Vibert. So we've got Slim Tim and Vibert coming on. We've got Paul Cannaville coming on.
Legend.
First black player to play for Chelsea, and he was also in our dances. So I'll be answering some interesting questions. And he could have had a longer career, but I think the blues dances and the street sounds was his way of getting out of the nightmare of racism that he was experiencing in his day-to-day job, which was the football. So we're going to be talking to him about that. DJ Keithley.
Legend.
Special Touch.
Legends.
Mikey Coos. Latest edition. Galflex. They'll be the first of the newer school.
Yeah, new
sounds
school.
to come.
And
So
they've done well, man. I
yeah,
have to big
they've
up
done well.
Galflex. Big up.
Mr. Play. New Winner Roadshow. Very interesting.
Jesus Christ.
We've also got Booker T will be coming on.
What?
The legend
Booker.
that is
I'm looking forward to
Booker
that one.
Original
T.
Tubbies, man.
Original Tubbies.
looking
King
forward to
Tubbies.
that.
Original. Who else is coming on?
Berlin?
Oh, someone that I confirmed last night and I saw out.
Oh.
Bogan
Oh, you saw.
and Michael Simon. They both said that they'll come on. I didn't think Bogan would come on.
No?
I didn't think he would come on.
He's not camera shy.
But he's coming on. Natalie Chin from Off the Wall. So she's celebrating her 13 years in the business. Roger Moore. Roger Moore.
Icon.
What?
Roger Moore. Mr. Stay Young. Mr. Stay Young. Benjamin Button. We're going to have a collector's edition, which is where we get 3 prominent collectors in here to talk about rare grooves.
Music collectors.
Music collector. I don't even know if I can be in that because it's gonna. Wow.
Because you've got such a people now.
Exactly. We're gonna have to do a lot of research for that one, mate.
We've got the sound. We've got the Soundman. The Soundman edition
Yeah, I'm
coming,
looking forward to that.
which is all about sounds and how it's changed over the last 30 years. We've got 3 prominent sound guys coming in. They've confirmed they're going to come in and talk about that. We've also got BCP events coming in.
Martin and the crew.
Martin,
Yeah,
Addy and Alex.
And Alex, they will be coming in to talk about their promotion work over the last 30 years and what they've contributed. We have Jazzy J coming in. Let's not forget Jazzy J, our first Drake, our first Sing J.
Yeah,
MC.
Sing J, yeah.
He was way before his time.
You got to.
Way before his, or maybe that was a bit of a gentleman that will be coming in as well from Funkadelic Skanker. Skanker was kind of sing
Yeah.
sing
Yeah,
DJ.
actually Skanker in the wall.
But I think that Jazzy maybe took it to another level at that time. New Attraction will be coming on.
Are we going to talk about our other podcasts?
Hold on one sec. We're
Oh,
going
you
to.
coming to that? You
Come on,
are-
I'm
you
reading from a
working?
script here. I'm reading from a script.
Oh, you are,
Stay,
sorry.
stay in line, bruv.
Just checking.
We're also going to. Juxie has confirmed that he will come in. To
Oh,
talk.
wicked.
Yeah, we've got. I'm going to reach out to, and I'm sure that they won't, Frankie Beverly, who has also contributed a lot to the MC game over the years, and also an East London boy, Polito Don.
Oh yeah, Polito.
Again,
Yeah.
I think Polito Don is one of them DJs that just got lyrics for like years. So
Yeah.
he's a guy that if he started chatting lyrics now, we could do a podcast, come back and he's still be
Yeah,
chatting.
still be chatting.
That's not, so we're talking to him about his involvement. And going forwards to the public, we'll also at this point like to say that there's a few things that we will be getting right on this. We're not the finished article yet on this podcast at all, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
So please bear with us.
I'm going shopping for Christmas, so don't worry.
Yeah. And we come to the new podcast before we shut down. We've got 2 new podcasts coming, and there's another one in development, but we'll talk about the 2 that are coming that have been signed, sealed, and delivered. The first one is It's Our House, which is a look at the garage and house scene, and it will be similar format or a bit different because those guys will have the input that they need and they'll be taking it on their direction. And that's CKP and the Godfather MC Creed will be hosting that. And we're so. Do that again. You sounded kind of like.
Well, you know, I keep telling you I'm an MC.
Do it again.
I keep telling you I'm an MC. You never believe me.
And we'll ask Creed to rate you.
Never believe me.
To the camera.
All right.
Camera.
We did it. Undo it again.
So, and we're very honoured to have those two hosting their own podcast and doing the same thing. They will be talking about and discussing their scene and giving shout outs to and achievements to people who contributed a whole load to the development of that scene, the garage and the house scene from years back. And I don't think we could have two better hosts of that show. So that's coming soon. We've also got Redz.
Oh yeah, Redz. With Bar and P, Bar and P, friend for life, Don.
Redz. Tottenham
Hotspur.
supporter. He'll be hosting the Soca edition of that.
Killing it on the Soca scene.
So he'll be doing, he'll be looking into the Soca scene. And again, he'll be doing the same thing because we think, I mean, for us, it was something that we sat down and talked about, and we really think that those scenes have been under-recognized, and their contribution to music as a whole hasn't really been told, especially not in the UK. So we're going to be happy.
Well,
I mean, I'm going to be a viewer of those two anyway.
Yeah.
I just can't wait for those. So thank you and welcome to the family. It's nice to see you. We've got one more in development, but I'll hold fire on that one. And also, this is the end piece. So I'm going to wrap it up. So producer, stop waving at me. Couple of questions for you two. At the end of the day, when we're all said and done, will you be writing a book of your life?
Of my life? Yes, I will be. But there's a couple other books in the pipeline.
You will be. On your life?
No, I've got one called The Rear Groove Story coming out.
Oh, excellent.
Are you part of it? Obviously you're part of
I'm
it.
part of it,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's
Did
still
you write
about
it?
you.
Oh, yes,
Right,
yeah.
so don't be-
Okay, yeah.
Did you write it?
Huh?
Did you write it?
Yes.
You
Yeah,
wrote
he
it?
did. He just talked. He's dyslexic.
No, he's a journalist, isn't he? He's got words.
He's very
Django.
touchy about what he was doing.
Yeah, though he did call me up for
untold at
words.
the time. You know what I mean?
Django.
Reggie, will you be writing a book on your story?
Funny enough, I've actually
Have
started.
you considered that?
I've actually started recording voice notes from about 2.5, 3 years ago of different situations, times. You know, sometimes something comes to your head, and at night I will record it in voice notes. So hopefully I'll be able to transfer that into
your
words
document.
in a book.
Well done.
Okay, I definitely wouldn't be doing that.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to yours, mate.
I definitely will be doing that.
That's going to be interesting.
But
The uncut
It
edition.
is.
hold on. But
The most girls ever following.
my
You know,
days.
most girls followed Fifth Avenue. You know, there's going to be loads. How many women do you reckon followed Fifth Avenue?
anyway,
At your height.
at the highway, you want to see all I can see in the green room over there, in the producer's room, is teat. All I can see is just teat. When I mentioned there was a whole load of women that follow us. They really made us get onto another level. But
Yeah.
that besides the point.
Okay.
You said that you'd tell your story. You said that you'd tell the story.
Yeah.
You mentioned a whole heap of things there. What name would you write under, or would it be under Reggie Styles?
It will be Reggie Styles, definitely, because that's
So
the
you'd front
most,
it. So you'd front it.
That's the most prominent name.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you'd front it.
Of course.
EastEnder, would you write
Yes, definitely under my name.
under your name? Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder why you asked the question.
What, Super Kid?
I just asked it.
From Super Kid to the EastEnder.
He's asking
To
the
East End.
question because obviously he's writing one himself.
Oh, okay.
But it's not going to be under his
I
name.
never said that. I didn't say that. All I said was,
What's it going to be?
Look at his
Under,
question.
what's it going to be? Junior Banton?
No.
I'm a journalist.
Oh, okay.
He's got a pseudonym.
Oh, okay.
Right.
He's got a
And
pseudonym.
we're going to finish now.
All right.
But what I want to do at this point as well is acknowledge people who's helped us get this far.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Can we have a round of applause for the backroom stuff?
Hey, big
Only
up.
got one job
Got
to
big
do.
up.
Only got one job to do.
Can I just
and
say-
when we say only got one job to do, it's a theme that we would definitely use throughout the
Yeah.
podcast because they've only got one job to do each,
Yeah.
and they always get it
Always
wrong.
get- But we love you. We love them,
But
man.
we love
they,
them
They
still.
do their thing.
We love them.
Big
So
up to
big up
Jay,
Jay,
Sheldon,
and Chris.
Chris. Big up Chris. I forgot his Christmas card in the,
Chris,
in
yeah.
the cafe.
Reggie gave us Christmas
Yeah, I
cards,
gave
but don't
everybody
celebrate
Christmas. Imagine that.
You don't
I'll
celebrate
just take a
Christmas.
fiver from everybody. That's all
Okay.
right.
So big up those people and our sponsors. So
Yeah.
I'd like to big up Windrush Wine Bar
Yep.
up there in Stoke Newton. Without them, we would not have started it. So Kenny, enough respect. Also, our sponsors are
Punchline.
And I think at this point I will make a confession because I don't want to be promoting something and then they find out.
Another one?
Punchline. Sponsored. Daddy pays because it's my son's part. My son's got a partnership with that. So it's him and 2 other guys. Amari.
Isn't there rules against that stuff?
No, there isn't. But this is why you've got to front it, because if you front it, then you're okay.
I hear
It's
ya.
when you hide it.
All right.
then
It's
you have
episode 6.
it's episode 6. I know, but I got there in the end, didn't I? So big up him. He's doing his thing, and we're paying for it. Anyway, he's paying for it, or whatever the case. But I'm paying for it.
paying for it.
I'm paying
World
for
Mag.
literally.
I forgot World Mag as well.
World
isn't it?
Mag as
big
well.
up to World Mag.
Also sponsors. Check out their new magazine that's out as well. Make sure you go and check them out.
Something hot.
And they're responsible for some of the technical stuff that goes around it. He's only got one job to do.
Better late than never.
Better late than never.
Is it?
Is there any other sponsors that we missed out? That's it, isn't it?
That's it. I can
Escapism
remember.
Media.
Oh yeah, escapism media.
Escape.
Shame.
If I say something there, I'll get told off.
A lot of escapes.
But Escapism 360, so make sure you check them out for all your design needs, okay?
Yeah.
And that's it, lads.
Listen.
It's been great. Before we go again, sorry, 2 minutes, 1 minute. How was 2018 gone for you?
Wonderful. Event-wise, very good. Had some of the best events for 2018. Hopefully more the same 2019.
And how has it gone for you, Reggie?
Apart from this, pretty crap to be honest. But hopefully 2019 will be a lot better.
And for yourself?
I think same as him. First half of 2018 was pretty awful, pretty damn. You take a lot of losses and people don't realise.
They don't realise, mate.
You don't often know the losses that people are taking. You know what I mean? But here, as long as you get the wins out at the end of it, that's the main
That's what
thing.
matters,
I think
yeah.
that we're still here standing in 2018. So the last half of 2018 or the last quarter of 2018 actually has been very inspiring, very phenomenal for me, especially with what I'm part of here in terms of set the trend and dealing with this and setting this up and working with the lads on this. And other things that have come out of it as well. The record has definitely been something that I've been very proud of. Even if I wasn't part of it, I would have been proud of it.
You're on the remix.
Anyway.
You're on the remix next
He's
year.
in the video.
So
2 videos.
So there's a lot going on, and 2019 we look forward to more. And the
Wasn't you on the mic for Idris Elba the other day?
Oh yes.
oh,
Oh yeah. He was singing
please,
for
guys,
Idris Elba.
please, guys.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's it.
Big shouts out. We went to Idris Elba's party, his
Yeah.
Christmas party. And we
7
was
Wallace label.
there. 7 Wallace label,
Party.
Boogie, Shax, and
We got Boogie.
and him, Master Steps was in the decks, and then Idris went on the mic, and Dodd come over, so Dodd came over, Dodd took the mic, then he called me to come up. I think he thought I was Hollywood.
What, you went on the mic? You went on the mic?
When Idris calls you to go on the mic, you go on the mic. So obviously he's heard about my skills anyway. You know what I mean?
So the 1994 Fifth Avenue style came out.
He heard about my skills.
Can I give you a joke
Yeah, go on.
about his mic skills?
Yeah.
No,
Can I
that's,
get a
that's
joke?
another podcast.
Oh, nobody can hear him.
Oh, no,
Big-
I can't.
so
I've
big-
got to give you this
You
joke.
know you can't.
Yeah.
Afterwards. So big shouts out to Idris,
He didn't want that one.
who invited us to take them out, and he is part of our culture because he used to rave in our culture. He knows
Sure
a lot
did.
of the guys, and he always celebrates being part of our culture. He's not a guy that hides it. Once
Family,
he's
mate,
there, he
family.
will, he will talk about it. So big up Idris Elba. Enough respect, yeah. So it was like that. So I'm off. I've got things to do. I'm sure you lot have.
He's got bigger fish to fry.
Now you caught the joke.
No, but listen, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
peace
So
out.
it's goodbye
you,
from
thank
me,
you.
it's goodbye from Django, and it's goodbye from Django too. Yeah, so it's been lovely. We wish you all the best for 2019.
Thank you.
Each and every one of you. No feelings?
Nah, of course
I had
not.
no feelings.
No feelings.
No,
All
no.
the best. All right. See, we're out of here. Bye-bye.